Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Well-known architect shot dead. A man who was killed in a gun attack in Halfway Tree area of St. Andrew on Tuesday evening has been identified. The deceased is 42-year-old Ewan Darling, a well-known architect of Charlton Road, Kingston 8. Police report that about 6:30 p.m., Darling was driving his white Nissan X-Trail sports utility vehicle along Cyber Avenue heading towards Cargill Avenue when a motorcycle with two men aboard drove up and the pillion opened gunfire, hitting Darling in the head. The SUV then crashed into the wall and the shooter went in front of the crashed vehicle and shot Darling multiple times in the upper body. The gunman fled the scene and Darling died on the spot. Investigations are ongoing. Out-of-control taxi mounts sidewalk in Mandeville. Police are probing an incident in which pedestrians narrowly escaped serious injuries after an out-of-control public passenger vehicle mounted the sidewalk on Manchester Road in Mandeville on Monday. A police source told reporters that the taxi driver reportedly that he suffered a blackout behind the wheel, causing the vehicle to run onto the sidewalk, hit a wall and almost mow down at least 7 pedestrians. Closed-circuit television footage shows the incident, which happened mid-afternoon Monday. The pedestrians are seen walking along the roadway when the taxi suddenly mounts the sidewalk. One of the pedestrians, in a bid to avoid being hit by the taxi, went over a wall before landing on his back. Other pedestrians quickly jumped over perimeter fences to avoid being mowed down by the out-of-control car. Woman security guard found dead with chop wounds in Hanover. The Hanover police are currently investigating the killing of a woman security guard in a suspected domestic dispute. The exact time that the body was found with chop wounds on the outside of a residential apartment on Fort Charlotte Drive in the parish is not yet clear at this time. Police investigations into the matter are ongoing. 15-year-old girl dies in suspected suicide in Portmore. A teenage girl died in a suspected suicide in Portmore, St. Catherine on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 15-year-old Daniel Johnson, a student of Brighton Portmore address. It is understood that about 6 p.m., the child's mother returned home and found her daughter hanging. The St. Andrew South police are investigating. Shopkeeper injured in gun attack in St. Mary home. A St. Mary shopkeeper was shot and injured by a gunman during an attack at his home on Wednesday morning. The injured man, who is from Anatole Bay in the parish, was found by police who had gone to his residence responding to reports that a dog was shot there. Police have not established a motive for the attack. It was reported that 23-year-old shopkeeper arrived home at about 6:30 a.m. and was opening his gate when he was approached by a man on foot. Police said the man pulled a handgun and opened gunfire, hitting him on the left side of his face and back of his neck. He was found by police who arrived shortly after to investigate reports that a dog at the home had been shot. The lawmen assisted him to hospital, where he was being treated. St. Andrew South Police lists wanted men. The St. Andrew South Police have named 9 men who are reported wanted for various crimes within the division. The police are making an urgent appeal to them to turn themselves into the Hunts Bay Police Station immediately. They are Ronald Smith, otherwise called Skull, of Bronzeland, Ashley Road and Bentley Road addresses in Kingston. He is wanted for wounding with intent. Romario Grant, otherwise called Coco, of Nelson Road, Kingston 13, who is wanted for murder. Cruz Nation, otherwise called Cruz, of Ken Hill Drive, Kingston 20, who is wanted for murder and wounding with intent. Jermaine Richards, otherwise called Richie, of Penn Road, Kingston, who is wanted for murder. Cedric Powell, of Venables Avenue, Kingston 11, and Bloomberry Road, Kingston 10, he is wanted for murder. Christopher Duffus, otherwise called Chipper, of Oakland Drive, Kingston 11, who is wanted for murder and wounding with intent. Raheem Brown, otherwise called Burger, who is wanted for murder. Tony Cardis, otherwise called Chassis, and Tawan, he is wanted for shooting with intent. Andrew Hall, otherwise called Anton, of Dillpart Crescent, Kingston 11, who is wanted for murder. The men wanted are being urged to turn themselves into the police by 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. Anyone with information that can assist the police to locate these men is being asked to contact the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigations Branch at 876-923-7111 or Crime Stop at 311. Man accused of stabbing taxi driver 13 times. A man accused of stabbing a taxi operator 13 times was brought before a senior parish judge on Tuesday to answer to the charge of unlawful wounding. Colin McPherson pleaded not guilty to the offense when he stood before senior parish court judge Lauren Cole Montague at the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. It was alleged that on December 20, 2022, McPherson took the taxi operator's vehicle into Halfway 3, St. Anne and stabbed the cabby 13 times. No additional details were provided. However, McPherson's attorney told the court that his client was not in the vicinity of the incident. Given that the medical report is outstanding, Cole Montague ordered that both parties return to court on March 23rd. An order was also made for the investigating officer to be subpoenaed to complete the file. Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently cautioned Jamaicans to be careful where and from whom they accept information.
The government is sensitive to the fact that this recent allegation of fraud has an international dimension to it, which has to be carefully managed. I am not aware of any systemic issues in the financial system that could cause contagion. But certainly, if actors in the sector or the common person is misinformed and consumes information that is incorrect, information that is false and misleading, it could impact the way in which economic actors make their financial decisions and create a crisis that does not need to exist. Now, were it only a political market at risk, I would brush it aside and say par for the course. But there is our national asset at risk by this kind of behavior. Our financial market is a regional leader. It gives Jamaica a competitive advantage, and we must protect it at all costs. Financial markets are the best aggregators of information, even false information. And so we must act responsibly with information. There was this query as to why I didn't jump out with a statement immediately. Simply because I have a duty that when I speak, the information that I provide must be unassailable. And that means you have to take time to verify so that confidence can be restored. But we saw in the interim that some persons had a field day with misinformation. And I wonder what was the motive for that. It was almost gleeful celebration. And I ask all Jamaicans to think very carefully on these things. Let us protect our national asset that we have. Use only information that is verified and from sources that are trustworthy.
Voted. The government has terminated the contract of Chief Executive Officer CEO of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, Rosalie Gage Gray. Sources say Gage Gray's termination letter was finally signed by Governor General G.G. Sir Patrick Allen after an almost week-long delay. The Public Service Commission had submitted its decision to terminate Gage Gray's services more than 1 week ago, based on the report by the Office of the Children's Advocate, OCA, into the CPFSA's relationship with disgraced American educator Carl. The GG took a little time to sign the dismissal letter, but it was signed last Friday. However, there can be no official announcement yet, as the terms of her separation are being finalized, said a source. There is no way she could stay after, the OCA said. She displays a grave lack of understanding at the best or at worst, an act of willfulness, blindness to the scope of her administrative and moral responsibilities, added the source. Gage Gray was appointed CEO of the then Child Development Agency CDA in March 2014. The CPFSA was formed years later out of the merger of the CDA and the Office of Children's Registry as the leader of Jamaica's Children's Protection Service. Gage Gray began her career in public service in 1987 in the then Income Tax Department. After successfully completing the Revenue Agents Training Program, she was assigned to the Ministry of Finance in October 1989. She then moved on to the CDA in 2003 in the position of Director, Human Resource Management and Administration, a post she held until her appointment to as CEO. Following the release of the OCA report last month, Minister with responsibility for information Robert Morgan said it would be difficult for Gage Gray to remain head of the CPFSA after she was accused of a gross breach of care for engaging Carl, whose teaching license had been revoked in the U.S. for inappropriate contact with a minor. The OCA report had recommended that disciplinary action be taken against Gage Gray for her gross breach of the duty of care owed to wards of the state and former wards. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell